What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to the first late night agenda of the week. Pleasure to be here with you. I think it's fair to say the transfer news is really starting to heat up now. We're going to try and tell you exactly where we're at in Liverpool's, race to bring in reinforcements in the January window. We're going to be talking about Marc Guehi, Antoine Semeno, a couple of players we haven't discussed before. We'll be talking about that youngster as well from Gremio, and lots more over the course of the next 90 or 100 minutes. As always, it is your show, my friends. Let me know what it is you'd like to discuss in the comment section. I really hope you do enjoy this stream, and if you do, don't forget to hit that like button. And of course, we are now just 117 subscribers away from our next 1,000 target, right? How are we? We all settled in? So I know everybody wants to know about Isak, and I don't have anything new on Isak. Let me put that out there straight away. Nobody that I've seen has anything confirmed on Isak as of yet, unless something's broken very recently. Now, Arno will have a press conference tomorrow ahead of the Wolves game, and I'm sure that there will be a lot of questions about Isak and his situation that Arno will be better placed to answer. Those scans, the MRI, stuff like that, that was all taking place today. So, yeah. Like I said, as soon as we know more, we will let you know. But I don't really know. I don't really know right now. I already see people being abusive in the chat. Not to me, just to Isak. And I just don't get it. Like, people are just weird. It's the season of goodwill to all men, right? Come on. Let's be happy. Right, Stu, how are we, bro? Craig, chat, peace and love to all at Christmas. And to you and yours, my friend. And to you and yours. Thank you, Stu. So, look, let's kick off with a conversation around the situation with Semeno. Because right now, I'm equally as confused as I'm sure you guys are about what on earth is going on with Antoine Semeno. Because from 1 hour to the next, things seem to be changing. Here's what we know so far today on Semeno. Cave Solokol of Sky. And again, this is just an opinion. Cave said, on Semeno, my take on it is if Liverpool come in for Semeno, he'll go to Liverpool. And he's not the first and won't be the last person that will have said that. So let's wait and see what happens. It seems as if the both Manchester clubs are pushing hard for this one. And again, I will go through that in a moment. But I've always felt the same. If we really wanted Semeno, I do think he'd be a natural good fit for us. But we don't know what the case is yet. Sky Sports have also said they understand Liverpool plans to sign a centre-back, a winger and a central midfielder could all be accelerated. They remain keen on Marc Guehi and are also one of the clubs in the background for the situation for Antoine Semeno. A different Sky Sports report said, breaking, Antoine Semeno could make a decision on his future today. Manchester City and Manchester United are ahead of other interested clubs. They're neck and neck for his signature. Liverpool remain interested, while Spurs are now focused on other targets, obviously because, he was politely declining Spurs' interest. Gabriel Mec, again, this week I will have agreed with Gabriel Mec and I will have agreed with Troy Deeney in the 1 week. That just makes me feel very strange. But anyway, Gabriel Mec said this about the Antoine Semeno situation. I think now Liverpool might join the race for Semeno. I don't know why he'd go to Manchester United. Ridiculous take. If I'm him, I'm saying, why are you even messaging me? So that's Gabriel Mec's take. Graham Bailey with Team Talk, they've said that Liverpool have decided against stepping up their interest in Antoine Semeno. A huge boost for Manchester United and Manchester City, according to Graham Bailey, as I've said. So that's kind of the flavour of where we are at with Antoine Semeno. There will be a little bit more talk on this later on, but right now, your guess is as good as mine. I'm going to move on to speak about Marc Guehi in a positive sense in a moment, but before I do, let me just read out Carl's message. Carl, 52 months with us as a member as well, and more than that, just a damn good person. Carl said, this year has been the toughest year of my life. Been in and out of hospital with major health issues, but getting married to the most beautiful lady soon. And I know the struggles you've been through this year, Carl, and I'm glad that you're going to have that positive end to it. Mary and Julie as well. So much love to you, sir. And I do hope those health issues are behind you, because I also know how hard you work in the job you're in, my man. So love you as always, bro. And appreciate you being here with us. Did anybody watch the Toon review show? They were slating this channel about some comments about Newcastle fans. I don't watch anything about Newcastle, but I love living rent-free in so many of their heads. And what I said about Newcastle yesterday, I stand over every last second of it. Because basically what I said is, they're so bitter and twisted about Isak that they're blinded by the fact Johan Visa basically did the same thing to join them. But you don't see Brentford fans out there talking about rat burgers or anything. Newcastle are just acting like the perennial small club. And they can dislike me all they want, because quite frankly, I couldn't give a fuck what any of them think. They know deep down I'm right. And their own actions and the way they treated the exit of Isak was not just disgusting. It was beyond that. It was pathetic, disgusting. And if that's what you want the next generation of Newcastle fans to see, you know, Isak's a rat, free box of matches, which are Isak's a rat t-shirt, I don't know what they're arguing against, because I'm right and I don't give two shits what they think about me, because, like I said, I don't know who any of these people are, but they make video after video slating me. Bring it. I couldn't give a fuck. You keep talking about me and I'll continue not knowing who the hell you are. Simple as that. I don't care. All my respect for Newcastle fans, apart from a few I know who are sound, like True Geordie, the Irish guy, and some other Newcastle fans who are absolutely sound. I don't give a shit. You know, they tried to make out like we were all disgusting as Liverpool fans in the summer. I was the ire, or the focus of most of their ire. I couldn't give a damn about them, to be honest. They're all just weirdos at this point. Simple as that. Right. Krister said, can we just get rid of everyone at the club who's associated with the Trent family, aka Jack Ade, who refused to sign a youth contract with us, is visiting Real Madrid. Can you guess who his agent is? I'm guessing it might be Trent's brother. Look, I don't know what to say. I don't know Trent's brother. You know what I mean? The Trent situation, we know what happened there. I don't know his brother, but can I say this without getting in trouble? I don't know. This might get me. He has a face that wants a slapping. And I don't mean that as a threatening thing, but when you see his smirky, slimy, greasy little face, it does have a face that wants to be tangoed. That's probably the nicest way. You remember those tango ads with the big orange hand? Well, Benedict Arnold, as I will call him now, not Trent, the brother, he just does have that slimy little look to him, doesn't he? So, you know, it is what it is. Craig, did you see the Toon review on Adam Pearson video about me? No, but I don't know who Adam Pearson is. Adam, I'm going to address you directly. You need help, mate. Like, I don't know who you are, and I know you've done at least 5, 6, 7 videos on me. I don't punch down, bro, so that ain't gonna happen. But, you know, why are you so obsessed with me? Concentrate on your own season. Concentrate on your own performances. Concentrate on your own players. Why are you so obsessed with me, Adam? I mean, if you want a signed photo or a pair of boxer shorts to sniff or anything like that, bro, just ask. I'm a people person. But yeah, it's fucking weird. Like, honestly, I'm not trying to be, I don't know who he is. I really don't know who he is. But I know many people have told me he made video after video about me, and crack on if that's what you need to be relevant to make your channel watched by people, Adam. You be you. But here's a little hint for you. Try being credible on your own terms. Try being credible by building a channel that doesn't rely on other people's names to get engagement, because that's what will ultimately lead you to success if you have it in you, bro. But like I said, I don't know you, so... great publicity for you. Look, like I've always said this to you guys. People can talk about me forever. I don't mind. people are like, I'm in the opinions business. People have every right to have an opinion about me. I don't mind it one bit. I just find it weird when some people I've never had a conversation with feel so strongly against me. They don't know me. They've never chatted with me. All that they know is that Liverpool took their best player and they're bitter about it. That's not my fault. Anyway, let's get cracking because we've a lot of stuff to go through today. So some good news on Jayden Danns. Jack Lusby, who I believe writes for This Is Anfield, said Jayden Danns is working on the grass again, with the striker due to make a full comeback within the next 2 weeks. Which is great news. Now look, we do hope Jayden Danns can stay fit because we know what a talent he is. And right now, we could do with some extra additions in the forward line. And if Jayden Danns can prove his fitness and, can come in handy for the club at some point this season, brilliant. I would also understand, to be fair, if he was to go out on loan. But look, we're short in attack. We really are. So, 2 things I wanted to say to you. So, my understanding of the situation with Mohamed Salah is that he will not be sold in January. That's what I was told today. Now, things can change, but my understanding is that he's not going to be leaving Liverpool in the January window. I don't know about the summer. I don't know what happens there. But I think with the Isak situation having worsened as it has, there is no intent or intention for Liverpool to sell in January. And that was what I was told today. So look, up to you. As I say, always question, always look into these things. But I do want to just credit myself for something in a minute. Bear with me. Bradley Warren said, Craig curious. But here's the thing, like, if he wanted to get to know me, reach out to me, have a chat with me, it's not that hard. It's just bitch behaviour making videos about somebody that you don't know for engagement. But like I said, he's free to do what he wants. They're all free to do what they want. You don't see me on here making videos talking about other content creators because I don't need to. I just want to do my thing and talk about Liverpool with my own community. Kev said, hey Craig, I'm out of hospital for Christmas. Very happy to hear that, Kev. And I hope you can get back to gigging soon as well, my man. So much love to you. Merry Christmas. And I'm delighted to hear that you're out of hospital, Kev. Wishing you a prosperous and healthy 2026. So let's talk about something because, well, you may have heard this somewhere else before. Let me just bring it up for you. Second, I'm just getting... Cave Solakal of Sky has followed Lewis Steele in recent days in saying something. I've heard that Marc Guehi may have a gentleman's agreement with Liverpool that he'll sign for them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know I get slated for a lot of stuff, but when do I ever get the credit for being right? I said this a month ago. I told you my information that I've been given, and I know people go, yeah, my sources, bro, HB, ha ha ha. But look at my track record. If I tell you I know something, I'll talk about it. If I tell you I don't know something, I'll hold my hands up on it. But my information that I brought to you a month ago in an exclusive video that not one fucking outlet, the Echo, none of them, had the decency of picking up on it. There you go right there now. Lewis Steele, Cave Solakal, all in the space of a week have said that they understand or they believe that there is a gentleman's agreement that Guehi has given to Liverpool that he'll join the club. So fingers crossed that is the case. But like I said, I don't just make stuff up and bring it to you. If I know something, I say it. Right. So, news just dropping on Alexander Isak this moment, straight from the club. Alexander Isak today successfully underwent surgery on the injury he sustained on Saturday. Now, that injury hasn't been explained. They haven't gone into detail, but I would imagine it is on a fracture of the leg. They're saying fibia fracture. Cool. That's good. Bit more information. So, we've more on it. The guys at Anfield sector have posted to say Alexander Isak today successfully underwent surgery and injury he sustained on Saturday. The Liverpool striker was injured in a challenge in the process of scoring the opening goal against Spurs and had to be substituted. After diagnosis, an operation was completed today on an ankle injury that included a fibula fracture. So, at least now we know what we're dealing with. Now, let's go back to yesterday when we told you guys about a post from a very credible account that deals with all things injury-wise, Physio Scout. So this is what Physio Scout had to say yesterday. Possible recovery times, and this was before we knew the full extent of what was happening. So a fibula fracture alone, with surgery, 6 to 10 weeks. So we know it's a fibula fracture, but what we don't know is the ankle side of it. So we don't know the extent, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we are looking in that 6 to 10 week window. I'm sure keep an eye on this account because it is a brilliant account. It's at Physio Scout on X if you want to give them a follow, and they will, I'm sure, run down a full prognosis of what the rehabilitation will look like for Alexander Isak. Which is certain. Look, it's not good news, but many of us feared a potential ACL at the time, and that would have been far worse. So we do wish Alex a speedy recovery. And yeah, hopefully he's back doing what he does best as soon as possible. I thought you said fibia. I read out fibia from somebody in the chat, but then when I read the actual post, it said fibula. So apologies if there was confusion because somebody in the chat had said it first, but then I got the official posting. So yeah, just to confirm again, just to make sure that there is no misunderstanding. The last line was, after diagnosis, an operation was completed today on an ankle injury that included a fibula fracture. Fibula fracture. So yeah, 6 to 10 weeks was what Physio Scout had said initially. So apologies if there was a miscommunication on my part there initially. Crazy how Newcastle fans celebrate injuries. Look, I don't know if they have or haven't celebrated Isak's injury, but what you will know from watching this channel, and anybody with human decency, is that nobody here on Anfield Agenda or anywhere else that I've seen would wish or celebrate an injury of a player. Whenever anybody picks up an injury and we talk about it on here, you will always hear me say, I hope they're back playing as soon as possible. So if Newcastle fans are celebrating an injury to Isak, all I can say is that says far more about them than it does about anybody else. Because if Nick Woltmade had went down with an ankle injury, you would see me on here wishing Nick a speedy recovery. Simple as that. So, you know, like I said, Newcastle fans, for me, over the course of the summer, have really not looked very good in the way they've dealt with a lot of these situations. But yeah, if they're celebrating an injury, that's just low-life behaviour, quite frankly. Ian, how are we, bro? Said Merry Christmas, Craig and family and all the mods. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, sir, and appreciate your 25 months with us as well. Chris Thorne, how are we, bro? 10 months with us as a member as well, Chris. Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas to you as well. Do you think Bradley could do a job at centre-back, kind of like the Carragher situation? No, I don't. And also, Bradley just needs to stop getting injured. Now, look, I say this, and I got to, of course, say nobody ever wants to get injured. And Bradley's certainly not getting injured on purpose. But it will be the thing that postpones or delays his breakthrough, really, or his continued starts at Liverpool. So Paul Joyce has just tweeted to say, Liverpool have said that Alexander Isak underwent surgery today on an ankle injury that included a fibula fracture. No definitive timescale on return, but expectation he plays again this season. So, you know, there is, as Paul Joyce has said there, hope that he plays again for the Reds this season. Is Guehi coming in January or in the summer? That, Alan, I've always been honest about, mate, and said, I don't know. I don't know. If he doesn't come in January, we best have somebody else lined up. There was a very interesting post today. I'm not sure if you've seen it or not, but Alessandro Bastoni liked the post from a Barca fan who said, "Come to Barca, bro." Now, look, I'm not saying that means anything, but, you know, it feels as if maybe if he does leave Serie A, maybe he has in his mind, potentially, a move over towards Barca or something like that. I don't know. On the Oyster King said, win now or future foundation shopping in January. I'm very strong opinion. I'm quite opinionated and I'm quite strong in my opinion on these things. I don't like writing off seasons at all. So I'm a win now person. Because, yes, I can understand the club building for the long term. And that is smart. You have to do that, of course. But fans don't get to write off seasons. You guys paying for your match tickets, you guys paying for your Sky, your TNT Sport, your Amazon Prime, you don't get to write off the cost of a whole season while the club plans for the future. I don't get to do it. So I like stuff to be done for the here and now, but of course it has to match the future as well. You'd never bring in somebody just because you have an injury for a few weeks. But we have a need in attack, a bad need in attack. Let's look at that situation right now. Mohamed Salah is away for 4 or 5 weeks, let's say. Cody Gakpo is injured. We still don't have a full prognosis on when he's back. Rio Ngamoa is not getting any time. Federico Chiesa is persona non grata at Liverpool, and that's not down to you or me, that's down to the manager. Alexander Isak, we now know, has recovering from surgery from the ankle injury and the broken fibula or the fractured fibula. So what are we left with? Hugo. That's it. Now, yes, you can play Wirtz as an attacker. But the problem we have if we don't add in players now and we don't go into the January window is the workload is just going to be overwhelming on the rest of the players. So we're already dicing with the centre-back situation where Joe Gomez is injured, but we don't know how injured, and we only have 2 centre-backs. Giovanni Leone's out for the season, and Virgil and Konate are the only 2 we have. There's no common sense to not making a few transfers in January now. It just has to be done. Nessie said, hey Craig, saw your message on WhatsApp. All love and support. You've inspired this 25-year-old fella a lot about life, about honesty. Keep it up. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Like I said, it's been a weird last few hours or a few days. But thank you so much, Nessie, for your kind words. Roshi said, thrilled at the prospect of players coming in, but still don't expect much while Slot is the coach. Lack of identity has hurt us more than personnel. I really don't have faith in Arne Slot at the minute, and I wish I did. I did last season, it waned, and I haven't been able to really feel trust yet. We will beat Wolves. They've only got 2 points this season, so let's be honest about it. We'll beat Wolves. Leeds, that's going to be an interesting game. We should beat them, though, because it's at Anfield. And then it's Arsenal, and that's a test. But hand on heart, no fibre of me thinks that Arne Slot is that guy. And the likes of that James Pearce message yesterday, which I want to read out to you again, because quite simply, it's astonishingly condescending and sanctimonious. And James Pearce wrote, those with short memories and little patience who were calling for change have been muted as Slot has breathed new life into a managerial reign which had veered so alarmingly off course. But has he, James? Has he? I don't know anybody who's muted. I don't know anybody who has been all of a sudden thinking, oh, well, I was just so wrong on Arne. It's clear now he sorted everything out, and he's the guy. I know people who've been slot in and still are. I know people who are willing to give him a little bit more time, but I don't know anybody who is absolutely gone from this dude's clueless to I love him, he's the guy. I just don't. And like I said, you've seen me years and years on here. Every time I've mentioned James Pearce, I've only ever mentioned him in a positive light. I've only ever said he's been great with fan content. He's a lovely guy. But what has happened over the past few years, in my opinion, with James is he's lost all credibility because he's posting stuff he knows to be nonsense. The Marmadashvili thing. Now, he'll say he was told by the club that we weren't going to bring in a keeper, but he's not stupid. That post is ridiculous. To say that towards other Liverpool fans, it's just pompous, condescending, and sanctimonious, like they're above us. Doubt we go for Guehi and Semeno, in my opinion, better options. You've been saying this to me pretty much every day, to be fair, Sonder. But I've not heard who is the better options. Who's the better options that you think could be gotten in January? And like I said, I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I just want this conversation to actually have a back and forth where I can, debate the points. Because what we know about Semeno is there's a release clause. Now, it doesn't look like we're going to get him based off the reports today. What we know about Marc Guehi is there's a pre-existing relationship. He nearly signed for us. He'd done his medical. And his contract's up at Palace in 6 months. So I'm open to other options. I think you mentioned Joel Ordenes to me yesterday. And Jacquet, if I'm not mistaken. Or Jacquet. If I can remember correctly from yesterday. But how available those are mid-season, I really don't know, mate. And I'm genuinely baffled, Sonder, at why you don't rate Marc Guehi. I think Marc Guehi is the best English centre-back that's currently playing their trade in football. We need new players. 7 games in January only. Crazy. Nope, you're wrong. It's 9. I counted it the other day. Because I always count each month from a content perspective. And if my memory is correct, it's 9 matches that we have in January. Which is crazy considering we've now gone 2 weeks basically with 1 game a week. And then there's 9 games shoehorned into January. Including the FA Cup game. So, yeah, it's nuts. Francolino and Schlotterbeck. So, we don't know much about Francolino. We know he's 21. We know he's playing in the Danish league and we know he's got 24 goal contributions. But do we know that he's ready to come back in or come into the Premier League and hit the ground running straight away, right now, if we needed somebody like Semeno would? And Semeno can play on both flanks. So again, I'm not saying not, but it's a big, big leap again. And it is a roll of the dice to bring in somebody for 35 to 40 million euro. That is 21 and could be a talent for the future, but may also be nowhere near the level required for coming into the Prem at this point when we have, a problem. On Schlotterbeck, great signing, great player. But if I was to bet, I would say he's more likely to go to Bayern Munich. But I'm with you on Schlotterbeck. I'd have no issues whatsoever with Liverpool signing Schlotterbeck. But everything I've seen suggests Bayern's more likely. Colin O'Farrell Nolan said, do you think the owners have told Slot to utilise the players he has up front and not cause another Kwanzaa situation? We have Rio, Harvey and Chiesa. No, I don't. Because, like I've said, there's been no indication ever that he wants to use Chiesa. You all have many options and times you can remember, but let's just rewind this right back to Isak scoring and going off injured. In that moment, in that precise moment, he could have looked to his bench and seen Fede and young Rio. He knew we needed width. He spoke about the fact we needed width. And he could have brought on either of those two players. But he didn't. He brought on Frimpong, who then had to go off, of course, a little bit later on. But that told me everything about where Arna's head is yet again with Federico Chiesa. And it's pathetic, quite frankly. It's the double speak from Arna about the situation's pathetic. The treatment of Chiesa is pathetic. Rio I have a bit more understanding on. I have a bit more understanding on that. But my problem with Rio is coming back to the conversation we had a few moments ago where the gentleman asked about the here and now versus the future. Because when we sold Luis Diaz, the line from the club was that the club are mindful of Rio and Gamoa's progress and don't want to block the natural pathway through. And in theory, that's fine. It makes some sense. But if you are absolutely screwed with no options now, and you still don't want to play the player, it comes back to what I'm saying about writing off a season again. So did Arna really think that Cody Gakpo was going to be able to play every game all season on the left? Never allowing for bad form or a lack of competition or anything like that? So some of this is down to the manager himself. You know, he has a squad that he said he likes, a smaller squad. Well, now he's got lads dropping like flies because they've got no players to replace them, to rotate them with, and injuries are becoming more and more frequent. And it isn't going to get any better as the games start to pile up. If he doesn't want Chiesa, sell him. For loads of reasons. But like, 7 million reasons a year is good enough for me. So that's £7 million every year. So about £10 million since Chiesa's come to Liverpool. £10 million for what? And again, not a knock at Chiesa because he wants to play. But 10 million quid for what? For the manager to prove a point? For the manager to cut his nose off to spite his face that he doesn't want to use Chiesa? Didn't get rid of him in the summer when he could have. Didn't bring him on the pre-season tour. Has stuck 2 fingers up to him at every opportunity. And yeah, the same manager looks the camera in the eye yesterday or the day before and talks about people thinking this club have endless money. Well, how about stop pissing away money? How about the loan fee for Arthur Melo? How about the wages for him? How about Ben Davies and Ozan Kabak? Not in Arna's time, granted. But don't talk to us about the club not having money when we've seen money being pissed up the wall on stupidity. So get rid of Chiesa, free up that wage and go get a fucking attacker that you want to use. Saunders said Barcola, Olise, Rodgers. Maybe available, 100% not available, 100% not available, maybe available, 100% not available, 100% not available. So most of those that you've listed, Saunders, aren't available. Barcola, potentially. Olise, not a hope yet. Rodgers just signed a new deal and is challenging for the title with Villa this season. Doué, again, ain't going to leave Paris Saint-Germain. Kvaratskhelia, again, had the option to come to Liverpool or elsewhere and moved because he wanted to go to Paris Saint-Germain. So none of those are really options, mate. I'd rather risk signing Ordonez and Xhaka with superior physical attributes and higher upside. Guehi in his prime right now. Guehi's 25. 25. He has 7 or 8 years left at the top level in football. And is homegrown and will be a reasonable fee if bought in January. Barcola, look, you know my opinion on Barcola. I think he's an incredible player, but he's an incredibly frustrating and wasteful player. Olise, mate, I'd have him tomorrow. Like you, mate, I love him. I'd have him tomorrow. Rodgers, incredible. Yildiz is an interesting one. That is an interesting one because I do think there could be a potential to get him out of Juventus for the right type of money. Doué, again, not really going to be going anywhere. And Kvaratskhelia, same. There was an article today that said that Paris Saint-Germain are basically going to offer Luis Enrique something like a contract for life. because they've been so impressed with how he works and how well he's done since he's gone there. Lee said Guehi is young, best English defender, and yet Liverpool argued over 5 million in the summer we were spending half a bill and didn't get it done. And didn't get it done is the important part of that one. Right, I need a poll, lads. Give me a poll idea, because we need to get a poll running. Frimpong looked great on the right against Spurs. No, he did. He absolutely did. When I was talking about the Chiesa and Rio stuff, I certainly didn't mean to say that Jeremy Frimpong didn't look good, because he gave us with an option. But it's important to remember that was against 10, because we've seen Jeremy Frimpong on the right-hand side in previous games for the entire game on the wing. I want to say one of them was against Galatasaray in the Champions League. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that. And he didn't look as good. But certainly in that moment, yes, absolutely gave us a huge help on the right-hand side. And I was as impressed by him as you were in that game. Chris Thorne said, I hope Guehi signs in January, as I love his attitude, his application and decency with no self-entitlement. He is for me a future club captain. I just think Marc Guehi, like yourself, Chris, all around is just an incredibly likeable, humble, sincere human being. I believe his father's a pastor, so obviously he has that religious grounding and a set of the way he carries himself and the way he acts in the world. He's just a very impressive man, to be honest. Right, let's see if we can get a poll. What do we got? Okay, hang on. I'm just trying to think of an interesting poll that doesn't involve are you supporting Arna or not, because I think we know the answer to that at this point. Okay, I want to come back to this one for a minute. So we've sat here and we've spoken about centre-backs, and we've talked about Marc Guehi, and we've talked about Bastoni, and we've talked about Jacare, we've talked about others. But there's still a centre-back with a contract offer in front of him at the club. And I want to know, do you think Konate signs the new deal? Now, this isn't whether you want him to stay or not, because I know people have different views on that. But do you think he is going to sign a new deal? Because now we are 9 days away from the end of December, when he goes into the last 6 months of his contract and he can openly talk to any club outside of England. And this was always my line in the sand moment with Konate. If we can't get a commitment before you get to that point, I would say either he's been unrealistic or he's still keeping his options open. And that would worry me. So I've always felt like if it wasn't done by the end of December, I'm not saying it's impossible, but again, leverage starts to shift in the wrong direction. Has Ederson from Atalanta cooled off? I've not seen anything new, Arthur, on Ederson. Now, I'm a huge fan of his and have been for a while. But I won't lie. If I could pick, I would say Wharton or Anderson would be probably my top two if I was to bring in somebody for the DM position. Love Ederson, who is kind of an 8 more than an out-and-out 6. So yeah, one of those two. Wharton potentially would be where my head's at. But that would be more of a summer thing. Craig, Liverpool aren't stupid. If EB wants stupid money, then they have to let go. I think they already know the answer is nobody is signed. So there was a piece the other day that said, like, Konate wants top level money, as in he wants to be recognised as the top echelon of Liverpool players. So your Virgil van Dijks, that kind of level. And obviously Liverpool aren't going to give him a contract that values him at that type of level because he isn't at that type of level. But you can look at this a few ways. And what I would say is, where else is Konate going to go and get it? Like, Saudi? Well, if he's about money, maybe. But if he's about actual football, that would be a ridiculous idea at this stage of his career. Real Madrid have already said no interest. Bayern Munich, potentially. But why leave Liverpool to go to Bayern Munich? Paris Saint-Germain, I don't know of any interest there. I've seen a piece last week that said, they don't have an interest. So, sporting-wise, Liverpool are a club you can challenge. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It feels like we're almost being held to ransom on a number, and a number that isn't a realistic number. And remember what I said about Trent. I said that it doesn't take Trent 6 months to figure out whether he wants to stay at Liverpool or not. And I feel the very same way about Konate. It doesn't take Konate this long and 3 or 4 contract offers to know if he wants to stay at the club or not. Because it doesn't take too long to get to a point where you're like, right, here's our best number. That ain't going to budge. That's all we can do. And he to go, well, it's too short of my expectations, sorry. Or, yes, cool, that looks good, let's sign, let's get it done. At this point, it just feels like we're all being dragged out again. This from Lewis Steele. To break my AFCON coverage, the injury to Isak is a bitter blow, which makes it clear, it already was, that Liverpool are a forward light. If the money is there, and it is, they must act in January. One positive, the timescale sounds better than many feared on Saturday night. And look, I agree with everything Lewis Steele said there. Right from the fact of the money is there, but we have to get it done. So here's where... Actually, I'm going to bring up this from Sonder, and then I'm going to come back about Semeno, because I was going to speak about Semeno anyway. But would you sign Semeno in January if you could wait for Olise and others in the summer? I have a problem with Guehi's height/pace. Imagine versus Vinny or Mbappe. So lots to unpack. Let's start with the Semeno thing. I'd sign Semeno in January, but there is a prerequisite to this. I'd need to know what the formation's going to be long term. Because if Arne sticks with the diamond formation, we don't really have wingers in that system. If he goes back to some variation of a 4-4-2, a 4-3-3 or something like that, and we're going to have a winger, then I still don't think it would stop Olise down the line. Because you have a player who can play on either flank in Semeno, and Salah, I still think, will be gone in the summer. So I think, the options are still there that you could go and get Olise down the line if that became possible, and Semeno wouldn't have blocked that off. And the other part you said was you have a problem with Guehi's height and pace. Imagine versus Vinny and Mbappe. Well, how did little Conor Bradley get on against Vinny and Mbappe? He's not exactly 6'6", and he might be a bit faster than Guehi, but he did all right. The height thing, it is somewhat of a mark against them, and we've been honest about this as well when we've spoken about Marc Guehi over the years, but I just think he reads the game very well, and I just think he is a good centre-back, That's all I'll say, but I don't think he's slow by any stretch. Mark Harding said, Ballard from Sunderland, a future star. I haven't watched much of Sunderland this season, apart from when we played them, and they were impressive, especially how well coached they were. When we played against them, they were certainly a very brave, well coached, energetic team. But I couldn't be talking about individuals because I don't really know much about them. And also with Semeno, one upside to that is right now we're in dire need, right? We're in dire need of a forward. What we know with Semeno is there's a number that gets it done. Now, of course, you still have to convince the player and you still have to beat the competition. But there is a number that negates any of the we don't want to sell in January, we don't want to lose one of our top players mid-season, and that's there to be exploited. And if there's anybody who's going to know the ins and outs of that contract or roughly what it's going to look like, Hughes will have a fair idea of it. I know the contract was signed after Hughes left with the new release clause, but he'd still have an idea of how Bournemouth go about those things. So it just makes sense, because let's even say we want to go for Marc Guehi. I still see a world where Palace drag this out, and it isn't a simple one. Whereas with him, we know it has to be done before the 10th, and we know Liverpool like to move quick and get things done. So if Liverpool decide tomorrow we're going all in on Semeno, then at least we know it could be done if the player can be convinced. I think he's going to test the waters and see who's interested. No top clubs, likely re-signs because he has no other options. How depressing is that to even say out loud? You know? And it is. I'm going to have a look around and see if other top clubs want me. Well, at this point, when they know they can pretty much have you for free, and they're still not kicking your door down, probably giving him his answer. Difference between snowmen and snow women, snowballs. There's no difference between them, mate. Sorry, I had to get my little shitty joke in there as well. Right, let's keep going because I've got more news that I want to get through for you. So let's give you the officials for the game coming up against Wolves at Anfield. Remember, it is a 3 p.m. kickoff. It is on Saturday, 27th of December. And I do believe that this is on TV in the UK, even though it is a Saturday, because I think there's some exception on this because of the way the calendar falls or something. But referee is Simon Hooper. His referee's assistants are Adrian Holmes and Simon Long. Fourth official, Adam Herzig. VAR, Michael Salisbury. And assistant VAR, James Mainwaring. So they're the officials for the game against Wolves. Now, if you can, do hit that like button for me, folks. Right, I want to talk about this youngster from Gremio again, because Sport Witness and a few others have posted to say, Liverpool prepare bid for Gremio talent. Liverpool are preparing a bid for 17-year-old Gremio prospect Gabriel Mec, according to reports in Brazil. Brazilian journalist Fabrício Vargas via Sport Witness claims a proposal worth in the region of €15 million is expected potentially as early as next week. Now, you're probably thinking the same as me. He's 17, Craig. He can't come to the Prem yet. But the attacking midfielder is a product of Gremio's academy, and he turns 18 in April. So he would be able to join Liverpool in the summer, provided they win the race for his signature. So let's keep an eye on this one and see what happens. He wouldn't be a player that would be able to come in January, but he would be somebody that could come in the summertime because he will have turned 18 by that point. So our friends at Anfield Index have posted links to a midfielder that this is one of those I need your help on. So our friends at Anfield Index write, Liverpool have an ongoing interest in Lille midfielder Ayoub Bouadi, with internal discussions continuing over valuation and squad fit. The 18-year-old is valued at around €60 million. So if you're looking to search up the gentleman, first name spelled Ayyoub, surname Bouaddi. €60 million for an 18-year-old midfielder. This kid at that kind of level of pricing, he would want to be something very, very special, wouldn't he? Oh, and also the legend. How are you, mate? How are you feeling as an Arsenal fan right now? You feeling a little bit more nervy with the league table as it is? One sec. Sorry, we'll just read more notes here on Isak. Okay, cool. Here's another player we've been linked to. This time, an 18-year-old. So this, I believe I took this piece from the Echo, because, unlike them, I like to credit others. So I think this is from the Echo. They say, reports suggest that Liverpool are interested in exploring a deal for Konstantinos Karatzas, who they believe will have stiff competition from Chelsea and Arsenal. The 18-year-old midfielder has impressed with Genk as of recent, with a number of Premier League clubs taking notice of him as a result. With an already sturdy engine room featuring the likes of Alexis McAllister, Ryan Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai, however, it remains to be seen whether Liverpool will be looking to make additions come January. Again, anybody who knows anything about this guy, please do let me know in the chat. Keane said he's supposed to be great, the youngster from Lille. I believe I saw it from Fabrizio Romano, and it's 65 million. If we're talking about Semeno, yes, it's 60 million and 5 million in add-ons, and it's active until the 10th of January. If that's what we're talking about with Semeno. So yeah, that is there, and like you said, in the summer it comes down to, I think, closer to 55 million. But yeah, what Romano reported is spot on. 60 million, and then there's 5 million in add-ons, but it has to be done before the 10th. Well, I say it has to be done before the 10th. The clause expires by the 10th. Right, so Paul Joyce has said this. There has been interest in Antoine Semeno, and he has been tracked by other suitors, including City and United, but it remains to be seen whether that is firmed up. Marc Guehi, unlikely to move next month. Liverpool would hope to sign him on a free transfer in the summer. So I don't know how to interpret what Paul Joyce said there. No problem if Liverpool know 100% they can get Marc Guehi in the summer, cool. But that still doesn't stop the fact that we absolutely need a bona fide centre-back right here, right now. We have to. So a couple of people are coming in asking again about the situation with Isak. I will give you the situation. So Liverpool have confirmed that Isak underwent surgery today after his injury against Spurs. Today, Isak underwent successful surgery on the injury. Liverpool striker was injured in a challenge in the process of scoring. After diagnosis, an operation was completed today on an ankle injury that included a fibular fracture. His rehabilitation will now continue at the AXA Training Centre, and no time frame yet placed on his return, although others suggested that everybody's upbeat on the prospect that he will play football again this season. I think Fab said if Chiesa doesn't play much by the 20th of Jan, he'll be looking to leave. You think he's allowed? Also, love you on the channel. Thank you, Sander. I think you're right, mate. I think I remember something, Romano saying something about that. Now, does that coincide with the ending of the AFCON? And that's kind of where my head's at with that one. But even at that, right, let's say Fede plays a few games between now and the 20th of January when the AFCON's over. He's getting dropped again as soon as Salah comes back, or we get another forward back. So I just don't see the point of not moving Chiesa on and bringing in another forward, because we all love him. That's not up for debate. Well, most of us love him. Some people think he's a bit overrated, but most of us feel like he's been hard done by. But I hope we all agree that it will be better to have somebody in that the manager will give game time to than somebody that we all like but is very unlikely to get game time. And we I've been talking about Chiesa on here now for 18 months. And every conversation we have, it's filled with hope more than expectation. Will he get minutes? Will he get minutes when he's fit? Will he get minutes when X is out? Will he get minutes when Mo goes to the AFCON? And the answer is more often than not being no. So I can't have any faith anymore that he's going to get minutes. I'm looking at it very matter of fact of get somebody in that's going to give us an option, because otherwise we're just wasting Chiesa's time, we're wasting money, and we're wasting valuable opportunities in the league. Dave Sharple said, Craig, if Isak comes back this season, he's going to be playing catch up on his fitness again. No doubt, no doubt. Unfortunately, Dave, it feels like to a great extent we're almost going to have to write this season off for Isak. Because what you've said makes sense. Let's say he's back in 3 months. So what's that? Mid-March. Then, like you've said, he's going to have to start building up match fitness. You're into April. And then it's getting him fit, like you've said. So I don't disagree with you, mate. And unfortunately, yeah, we are almost going to have to look like we're going to have to plan for most of this season without him. But it depends on how we play, like I've said, because Ekitike is the guy in form at the minute. So, but he can't do it all, and he can't play every minute. Craig, Leon Goretzka might want away from Munich. Would you think Liverpool would be tempted even though he's 30? So before he went, when he was I want to say Schalke, before he went to Bayern, I'm almost certain it was Melissa Reddy who wrote a piece that said he wanted scandalous money at the time, like 250 grand, and this was way back when, before he went to Bayern. So no, I can't see Hughes and Edwards looking to bring in a 30-year-old player with as many miles on the clock as well. I don't see it as being a Liverpool likely signing, especially with Edwards and Hughes. Right, let's check this poll. So, will Konate sign a new deal? So far, it's close-ish, but it's definitely leaning in one direction. We'll leave it running a bit longer. If we get up to 1,500 votes, we'll knock it on the head, and then we'll ask what you think. Do you know what? Let's get it up to 1,200. We'll knock it on the head, because I have a poll I want to ask you on the centre back situation. So if we can get 35 quick votes, we will move on to we'll move on to the next one. Right, we need 25 more now. 24, 20. 10. Nearly there. 4. 1. There we go. Right, so 59%, 59% think that he won't sign a new deal. And obviously 41% thinks he will. How do I phrase this? Okay. So, will you be angry if we don't sign a centre-back in January? Because Paul Joyce said that it's more likely that Marc Guehi would be the summer. So, that would rule Marc Guehi out as an option. For me, it is without a doubt the position we're most in need of. And I'm going to talk about Joe Gomez in a minute, because there's been more links for him with a move away. But I can't even begin to fathom a world where anybody with a rational mindset inside Liverpool would look at the window and not think we should be tripping over ourselves to get a centre-back in the minute it opens. Because it really just feels like it's an unnecessary roll of the dice that would have a major impact on our season if we picked up one more injury. Or let's say it comes out that Konate isn't going to sign a new deal. And let's say it comes out and the media starts writing pieces in Spain or Italy or wherever to say Konate has, suggested he wants to go and play for AC Milan. Just out of... Then you've got that situation, his head all over the shop again, the frustration from the fans, and no replacement, none, other than Joe Gomez, who is injured quite often. So this is where my mind plays out these situations in. I can see the knock-on effect that it could really undermine the season. The legend said, me and my mates have got each other 92 shirts for Christmas. I got my mate Carlsberg Liverpool shirt, and he's getting me the old JVC Arsenal 92 shirt. Nice. Fair play. Both good shirts, to be fair. Charlie, how are you, mate? And thank you for your membership with us. Said, I prefer the low-key player signings that come good. Oh, yeah, they're great. Like, an Andy Robertson, those type signings, they're fantastic. They come in and you're not expecting too much from them, and then, bang, you realise, wow, what a star, what a player, what a guy. Stevie boy, wouldn't it be right to start both Rio and Chiesa against Wolves? Chiesa, yes. Rio, maybe not. Let me explain why. So we know we've no Dom. He's suspended. So we were going through trying to work out a team last night in our minds. And if Gomez wasn't available, you'd have Frimpong right back, 2 centre-backs, and then your left back. In midfield, then, you'd have Gravenberch, McAllister, and Jones. So then you've got 3 positions left to be filled, and you'd have Wirtz with one of them, Ekitike with another one of them. So there's one spot there, and common sense, you would think it would be Chiesa, right? Because it just has to be. But from the point of view of if you are going to give Rio a game that should be a manageable game at home, that would be as good a game as any to throw him in and build some confidence. So, I don't disagree with you on the premise, but I would be extremely surprised if that's what the manager does do. But yeah, look, they've 2 points in the league. 2, Wolves. If you don't feel comfortable to play Rio in that, I don't know what to say. If you don't put Chiesa in when we are literally running out of bodies, yeah, it'd be mad. Salah wins it. Nice. Well done, Mo. Fair play. That was it. They were turning that around there. 1-0 down last I'd seen. Then you guys had told me it got to 1-1 and Mo's just come up with the winner. Well done, Mo. Bradley said Chiesa and Ekitike up front. Sign me up for that, mate. Yeah, I have no argument against that, Bradley, whatsoever. It again depends on the system and the way he wants to set it up. If, let's say, we found out Joe Gomez was fit, then there may be a world he sets the team up a little bit differently and we see Jeremy Frimpong in a more advanced position right-hand side. But like I said, it just depends on how he sets the team up. Okay, so Paul Joyce, again, one potential move could be the return of Harvey Elliott, whose loan to Aston Villa with a view to a permanent 35 million switch has turned into a major disappointment. He's not played a minute since October the 2nd, and contact between the two clubs is now likely. Look, this should be a no-brainer. It should be an absolute no-brainer that contract is terminated. Because we could use him. No matter what the manager wants to try to say, we could absolutely use having Harvey Elliott right now. He can't go to another club in Europe or the Premier League or anywhere like that. So, because he's played for two clubs in one season. So, that should be a no-brainer at this point. Bring our boy home and use him. I'm not saying you have to commit that he'll be here forever, but give him a chance. Because, we know we leave it all out there on the pitch. We know that he has the ability to spark moments. And we know he's been absolutely shafted at the way things have worked out at Villa. So, yeah, bring him home. Get Harvey home, definitely. That shouldn't even be a debate. Just for his own well-being, he should be brought back to Liverpool. Sonder said, post-match interview coming up with Mo. Just joking. Look, I hope he does have an interview when he said how proud he is to score and win the opening game for his country, Nothing wrong with that if he was to have an interview to say that, he's representing his country. What's this one? Yeah, we've just done that one. Right, let me keep going back through my notes because there's more stuff I haven't gone through yet. Christian Falk has been speaking a little bit about Michael Olise. And he said, Real Madrid, Manchester City and Liverpool are interested in Bayern Munich winger Michael Olise. Liverpool are looking to him as a future successor for Mohamed Salah, but he's contracted at Bayern until 2029, so the fee could be massive. Olise has scored 9 goals and provided 11 assists in 23 games so far. Look, for me, he's the dream, the wet dream. The one to bring in for the long-term Salah replacement, without any doubt in my mind. One sec. Sorry, folks. I'm just looking for something here real quick. Bear with me. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Oh, okay. So I want to bring something up on screen for a second, so bear with me. Let me just drag this out. It's a shit quality image, but let me drag it out. Right. So, sorry for the poor quality image. But see the young man on the screen that I'm showing you right now. This is the young MMA fighter, the local fighter that we're raising money to help send him and his twin brother to represent Ireland in the European Championships. The GoFundMe link is in the description of this and all of our videos. And he was at my house again today because he was doing a little bit of work with the builders to try to make sure he can get his money together for his protein and his nutrition. This guy is already a multi-time European champion, a world championship runner-up, a multi-time national champion, and he is going far. He needs to raise €3,500 to get him and his team over to represent Ireland at the European Championships. The downside is that it's not funded by Irish Sport or Sport Ireland. So all of it has to be funded by them. We've already made €1,000 donation to it from you guys, from our community here at Anfield Agenda. I'm going to do a night in one of our local pubs as well to help raise money. But if you were thinking of sending in a super chat or something like that, please donate it to Adam's Fund to help him get over there, because this young man could be one of the next stars of Irish MMA and will, in my humble opinion, make his way to the UFC. And these are the type of people that I want to get behind, Connor wants to get behind, and our community needs to highlight and support, because he is a perfect example to youngsters. He's sitting his final exams in school. He's up every morning at 5:30 running, lifting weights, training. The kid is... You would be proud if you knew him. And I'm going to bring him on for an interview one day so you can hear from Adam directly. But we want to help. We want to help getting there. Keane said Ian Gary 2.0. He's trained with Ian Gary. Yeah, actually, look at Ian Gary's Instagram right now. Go and look at Ian Gary's Instagram. Because I donated a signed Ian Gary photo that I bought to Adam, and Adam posted it, and Ian Gary reposted it because it was a signed photo of Ian Gary. He's trained with McGregor. He trains at SBG all the time. This kid is such a humble, wonderful young man from a great family, and I'm proud to support him. And I want to make sure that he comes home and brings back that gold that he's been working his ass off. So thank you for hearing me out. Appreciate your support as always. But we like to highlight local sporting people and events that we think we can help out, or we should try to help out. Hopefully not the same personality as McGregor. He is just so humble, this young kid. Honestly, so humble, so likeable, and so focused. Pro said, last year I remember you saying your dream signing would be Musiala or Wirtz. Look who Wirtz is playing for. The dream of Olise could become a reality. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe. Fingers crossed. Somebody said, where's McGregor then, Craig? Surely a few grand for him is nothing. Give something back in it. To be fair to Conor McGregor, when the team went over to the World Championships in Abu Dhabi, McGregor donated 10 grand. He did. I have no time for McGregor, but he donated 10 grand at the time to help them and the team get over there to Abu Dhabi to train and for all the costs. So he did. AI art content creator said, play Wirtz as a false nine, Bobby Roll, Ekatike to his left, Semeno Frimpong to his right. I think Wirtz little flicks etc. could really work here, putting goals on a play for others like Bobby did. But I don't think we have the wide players to connect with Wirtz in the same way we had the Mane and Salah situation to tie together and connect with Bobby. Wirtz could do that role, but I would almost say play Wirtz alongside or off a two with Ekatike, because we don't have the width at the minute. Kyle said, will he got my $10 to help? Wish him the best. That's so kind of you, Kyle. Thank you. And I've already recognised I've already recognised some of the names of people who I recognise from a chat that have donated there as well. And thank you to you all for that. Right, more news. Let's talk Milos Kerkez. He said, at the moment, there's a good connection between me and Florian Wirtz. We're playing well, and I hope it keeps going. I like the change in shape because I've more freedom with flow. We're moving, passing, and playing a lot of 1-2s. I feel like it was in the opposition box a lot more and crossing. And I think he's right. You can see the difference since we've changed the formation. It does seem to suit Milos Kerkez a lot more. Did Harvey play in the infamous match against Plymouth with Chiesa? If so, I don't think he'll get a game. Mate, I can't remember all the way back then. I guess he did, because it does feel like the type of game Elliott probably would have been put in for. But I am working off guesstimation there. Mark said he did, so there you go. Brad said, I don't know if you explained this, so apologies for dropping in late, but what are your thoughts on Gerrard looking to help Liverpool in any department? I read it out late last night. Just incredible. And it was lovely to hear from Steven Gerrard as well to say that, he'd help the club in any which way. Fantastic. Just shows how much he does, obviously, love the club. In your preview video, will you put Chiesa? There's a lot I won't be able to say yes or no to because I want to hear from the manager in his press conference tomorrow. And then I'll kind of have a better idea of the availability of players. So, for instance, I don't know how bad the Bradley situation is. I don't know where Gomez is at. We know Szoboszlai suspended for it, so he won't be there. So there's a few things I need to hear first. But right now, yeah, I probably would. If I was to do the predictions video tonight, right now, yeah, like I said earlier on when Stevie Boy asked about the Rio slash Chiesa thing, yeah, I probably would have Chiesa up there as the second forward. Fulham beat Forest 1-0. Thank you for that, Mark. Fahim said, Craig just joined. Who are the 3 signings? So let me just read through some of the notes for you. And don't worry, by the way, if you are coming in late, I'm recording a late news update video again tonight, so we will go through that. So let me just get my notes so we can get to what I had to give this gentleman's answer. 1 second. So Sky Sports have said, Sky Sports News understands plans to sign a centre-back, a winger and a central midfielder could be accelerated. They remain keen on Marc Guehi and also one of the clubs in the background of the situation for Antoine Semeno. So, but then Paul Joyce said it's unlikely Liverpool will move for Marc Guehi in January, more likely in the summer. So, Joe Gomez. So, sorry, to answer your question, mate, we didn't have specific names in the 3 positions. It was more a case of these are the positions that have been mentioned that we're looking to strengthen in. And we have talked about some loose links in each area, like Gabriel Mec. We've spoken about a youngster from Genk, and there was another one, and I'll go back over them in a minute. But Corriere dello Sport have said, after unsuccessful talks in late August, AC Milan will try to reopen negotiations with Liverpool in January to bring English centre-back on loan for at least the next 6 months. Joe Gomez. There cannot be any way, shape or world that Liverpool loan out Joe Gomez. You know, it shouldn't even be a conversation. You know, because how can we? We have bare bones defensive wise as it is. The idea of loaning Joe Gomez to AC Milan is just the height of stupidity. And as I said, my information that I'd received today as well on Mo Salah is that it is almost guaranteed he will not leave in January. So I don't know what happens in the summer, but the information that I got today is that the plan is that Mohamed Salah stays at Liverpool. And again, what happens in the summer, I don't know. But January's looking more and more likely that he stays at the club. Semenya was cheap, plus plays both wings, destroyed their defence. Well, I wouldn't say he's cheap, Paul, but I would say there's value in it. I'd say that, you know, it's an understandable number, yeah. 65 million all in feels an understandable number for a Premier League to Premier League attacker move. Averts is too light. Well, he's put on nearly 3 kilograms of muscle, mate, since he's come to Liverpool and is getting stronger week by week, month by month. And I don't think he is too light. I mean, look at Coutinho. Look at David Silva. Look at Raheem Sterling. Look at Bernardo Silva. You know, there are small players. Look at Phil Foden. You know, you don't have to be a tank. You just have to be able to find and utilise the pockets of space. And you know, it is a more physical league than the Bundesliga, so it was always going to take him a bit of time, but I would disagree on him being too light. AI art content creator, thanks for reading my comment. My pleasure, bro. I always try to get through as many as I can in a stream. And thank you for taking the time to post. Would I bring back Firmino on loan for 6 months at own? No. I wouldn't, mate. His best days are well and truly behind him. And again, you know that you speak about memories. Well, I don't want my memory of Bobby to be tarnished. And on a purely selfish perspective, I don't want to have to say goodbye to him again because, you know, he was my favourite player of the club era. And yeah, that hit me right in the feels when he was going. So yeah, I couldn't put myself through that one again. Oh, okay. I want to announce something good for that will be coming up in the new year. Excuse me. So we haven't nailed down the specifics of this, but remember when we gave away a signed and framed Diogo Jota shirt with thanks to our friends at the Collector's Corner? Well, we're going to be giving away a prize every month through 2026 with thanks to our friends at the Collector's Corner. And we're working out the actual details of it, but we will be doing that each month throughout 2026. So I'll give you more information after Christmas on it. But again, we're always looking to try and find a way to give back to our community, to say thank you for your incredible support. There are things that we can and can't do. For instance, we're not allowed to give away things to members. You know, because what me and Connor would love to do is, let's say, you know, once a month, everyone who's a member, we give away a PlayStation. We'd love to do that, but it's against the rules of YouTube, so we can't do it. So, you know, I'm always looking to try and make sure that there are things that we can do to give back. And yeah, and we'll also be sorting out a discount code as well that will be unique to you guys for stuff like that. But yeah, keep an eye out for that one in 2026 because I've personally, I don't want to say a number out loud because my wife might hear me and whoop my ass, but I've in my living room, I've got a Bobby Firmino painting, a Diogo Jota shirt, an Istanbul signed Rafa and Gerrard thing, a Steven Gerrard shirt, and a Virgil van Dijk shirt. All of that is going into the office when the office gets built. So I've had to restock the house with my memorabilia. And I've bought a Ronaldinho, a Messi, an R9, a Kaká, signed shirts from our friends at the Collector's Corner, and they're all going to be adorning my living room wall when all the other stuff goes into the office and Liverpool stuff. It's yeah, I've bought a lot of stuff from them, and the reason why I'm working with them now is because every single item that I've received has been pristine, has been packaged remarkably, and I wouldn't push a product I wouldn't stand over, and everything from that company has been absolutely phenomenal. Um, yeah, I mean, she's in the other room. There's a few things I can't say, but we got a signed Rio Engamoa jersey as well, which will be going in the office because I think that'll be unique with his particular number. Why not CR7? He's the go. Because I can't stand him. Simple as that. I don't want to be rude about it. I just don't have any time for Ronaldo. So yeah. There's an answer I'd give to my friends, which will be a different answer on that one. But yeah, the truth is I'm not a fan of him. I did get a signed Fernando Morientes photo. I got a signed Ian St. John photo, a Phil Thompson photo. I've got a signed Nick Diaz UFC glove, a signed Nate Diaz UFC glove, a signed Daniel Cormier UFC glove, a signed Ian Gary UFC glove. Yeah, Mohamed Salah. No, I haven't got a Salah one because I hadn't been able to get one at a reasonable price. And also I haven't got a Bobby Firmino one, which is another thing that I've been trying to track down. So yeah, I was looking at Salah ones and my God, they're expensive. My God, they're expensive. Craig, do you hate Salah because he's Arab? What type of a scumbag are you, mate? Honestly. Why would I... one, I don't hate Salah in any way, shape or form. Only ever refer to him as the great man. And why would I hate somebody because of their skin colour, dude? Fuck me. And it's no surprise that your name is a name from that part of the world that probably wants to just pin anyone that doesn't uh, idolize everything that you want as a racist. But I don't know what to say, mate. That's just disgusting. I actually wouldn't even use the term Arab. I would deem that as a potentially offensive term if I was to say it. You want the honest take on my relationship with Mohamed Salah and my view on him? I think he is one of the greatest players to lace up a pair of boots for Liverpool Football Club. And I've said this many times. He's not a player that I've ever really felt as serious a connection to because he's too perfect. He's a wonderful humanitarian. He's a wonderful guy. He's just not somebody that I feel a connection with because of that perfection. I'm connected more to a Paul McGrath, a Ronnie O'Sullivan, somebody with a flaw, because I'm flawed and I'm drawn to people with character flaws. But it's just so weird. You guys are just the people that go around with that because he's Arab stuff. You're the problem. You are the problem, because what you do with your silly, childish, bullshit, ill-informed takes is you undermine the actual racism being suffered by people in all different walks of life and backgrounds. Be they people from Africa or people from anywhere. It doesn't matter. Pick Irish people. It doesn't matter. You're undermining the real racism by projecting your own stupidity. Be better. Be a better human being. Has anything I've ever said in any way ever shown anything but respect to Mohamed Salah as a human being and a footballer? Why wouldn't I? The man stands up for what he thinks is right. The man speaks out against injustices. The man wants aid to go into Gaza. The man is a good human being. It's as simple as that, you know? So it's not just me that gets this, by the way. I see it so many other people about other players. Would you be saying this if they were English or blah? Why do you go there? Like, my heart's not filled full of hate, mate. It's filled full of love for everyone. Doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. Doesn't matter what God you worship. It doesn't matter what colour your skin is. All I care about is the strength of your character and how you treat me and other people. That's it. I'm a simple man. I don't hold hate in my heart for anybody. I wish everybody the best. Even including you, who came on to try and say that I dislike somebody because of the part of the world they're from. I wish you more inner peace than you clearly feel. Just in, mind going through the news. I probably won't have time to fully run through for you right now, bro, but I promise you I'm going to record a news video and get it out before 11, because more stories have just popped into my inbox that I have to go through as well. It's about good versus evil, not race. Of course. Absolutely. Now look, I've always said this as well. I do think Mo can be all about Mo at times, and all about brand Mo Salah. But that would be the same with a lot of athletes at that level. About Ronaldo, Messi, A lot of the times it is about their own interests. And I haven't always been happy with everything that Mo has done. But yeah, like I said, dude, just be better. Just be better as a human being. Because I don't want you undermining people that are genuinely suffering at the hands of abhorrent, abusive racism and disgusting behaviour. Desmond, Paul said perfect answer, Craig. But you know what? It's just sad, Paul, that you even have to answer it. Do you know what I mean? It's sad that it's even a thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Oh, that sounds cool. James said, "Hey Craig, my missus got me Anfield history and newspaper headlines. That sounds class. Yeah, well done, the missus. That sounds class. Um, does anybody else have little? I don't know how else to describe this, but little toilet books. You know that you've got little things like you read when you're in the loo if you don't have your phone with you. I have a few little books on that, on the likes of Liverpool and some oddities and um, stuff like that. Bathroom reading material. Petter said, Craig, will Liverpool sign a number 9 in January? No, not a chance, Petter, no. We've got young Jaden Dans, mate, who's now back training and hopefully can keep fit. Obviously, what happened with Isak is really unfortunate, but he should be back before the end of the season. And we have Ugo Ekitike, so no, I can't see a world, mate, where we go out there and look for a 9. Still rattles me. Glasner pulled the plug on Guehi. Look, it doesn't really rattle me, Peter, that Glasner did it, because I can understand Glasner's perspective as the coach. I just think when, like, let's say Glasner signs a new deal at Palace, and by the way, I don't know if he is or isn't, and his contract's up at the end of this year. But let's say he does sign a new deal at Palace, and Marc Guehi leaves the club in the summer. He'll then go to his chairman, Steve Parish, and say, look, Steve, we need a centre-back here. And Steve will say, okay, here's what we have. And I'd say Glasner would go, but that probably won't get us what we need. And he'll go, but you wanted Marc Guehi kept, and now we've lost the money. So I understood it from Oliver Glasner's perspective, because of course he's going to want to keep his captain and a good defender there as long as possible. But it's the Steve Parish part of it that I find baffling. Full library at the back of the loo, said Dahi. Good man. Craig, you're the Irish king and I love you. I just kissed you on the face. Cool, thank you. Right back to you. Free Chiesa. I mean, look, you're not on your own with that sentiment, my friend. Harry said, love you, Craig. Ignore the haters. You're the GOAT. It just makes me sad. It just, stuff like that doesn't anger me. It just makes me sad because, you know, this is what these ill-informed idiots say. You know, I always say to you guys, there's nothing more dangerous than a confident idiot. And that's what that person is, just an idiot. And those people are a danger to the world because they're so convinced in their intellect that they don't see that they're an idiot. And they're dangerous because they spout shite non-stop. And what was it Mark Twain said? A lie gets around the world before the truth gets up and puts its boots on. Update on Isak. No problem, my friend. Let me read that out for you now. So, here is the latest that we have. So, Liverpool have confirmed that Alexander-Isak underwent surgery today. The Liverpool striker was injured in a challenge in the process of scoring the opening goal against Spurs. After diagnosis, an operation was completed today on an ankle injury that included a fibular fracture. Isak's rehabilitation will now continue at the AXA Training Centre with no time frame yet placed on his return. So that's where we're at with that one. So no ACL or anything like that, but it's still, you know, if we go off what the guys at Physio was a Physio Scout said yesterday, fibular fracture alone 6 to 10 weeks with surgery. But what we don't know is the ankle situation. So we know that it was a fracture there, but we don't know what injury there is to the ankle as well. So Hugo Ekitike has found himself in some good company once again. So, goals in the first 10 starts for Liverpool Football Club. So, Robbie Fowler and Sadio Mane both had 6 goals in their first 10 starts, for Liverpool Football Club. Mohamed Salah had 7 goals. Hugo Ekitike also 7 goals. And top of the list was Danny Sturridge with 8 goals in his first 10 Liverpool starts. So, I'm not saying that Hugo's going to be able to keep pace with the great man Mo, but hiccups. Not too shabby a start. And 5 in his last 3 as well for Hugo. Craig, how long, if you had to guess, will Isak be out for? Like, without knowing the ankle situation, I couldn't guess. Now, there were people that were saying that there's a strong degree of confidence he'll be playing again this season. But I've always said to you, I don't want to give you false information on stuff like that, especially things I'm far from qualified to discuss. So, yeah, we'll get more in the coming day or two. And Arnold will be speaking tomorrow, by the way. He has his press conference ahead of the Wolves game tomorrow. So, because the players have off, I think they definitely have Christmas Day off, and I think they've got Christmas Eve as well. Elstew said 2025, a title, lost Diogo, still strong, still Liverpool. I still can't believe he's gone, mate. I really can't. Yeah, it's just, I'm sure this has happened to everybody else as well, but you'd be watching just clips back from last season, just normally as you would do, where you're watching LFC TV and they're going through all the goals, and you just happen to see Diogo in one of the videos, and it just, it still doesn't feel real. I can't even fathom what his poor wife and kids are going through. It's just so heartbreaking, man. So heartbreaking in his prime like that. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, Stu. There's a lot of things about 2025, mate, that I'm not gonna be sad to see the back of. I'm looking forward to hopefully a brighter world in 2026 for everybody, because it's been a very anger filled, bitter, hate filled 2025 for a lot of the world and a lot of people. Stephen said, just want to say thank you for your response regarding Salah. I think the usual answer is I don't see race. Racism is a problem. Let's just be honest and do better. Love you, Craig. I abhor racism, mate, because I can't fathom it. I have a simple phrase, Stephen, that I use with my mates. If I think you're an arsehole, I'm going to tell you you're an arsehole, and I don't care what colour you are, what sexual orientation you have. I don't care. If I think you're an arsehole, I'll tell you you're an arsehole. But I'll never ever form a judgment on anybody based on anything about their appearance, religious beliefs, or ethnicity, or anything, or who they love. It just, I can't. It doesn't connect in my head. Like, yeah, it doesn't add up. I don't see it. Like, why? Why would you go there? If you dislike someone, you usually dislike them for something they've said, done. To just base it off someone's skin color, it just feels so alien to me, the whole concept of it. Bradley said, Craig, you're a conduit of sense, truth, and free expression. Much love. Thank you, Bradley. I have a big bee in my bonnet about, I think people, this sounds so kind of tinfoil hatty right wing, but as always, I'm going to be brutally honest. When we were growing up as children, all of us, by our parents or whomever raised us, told us to tell the truth and told us to be honest. I find, Bradley, in the world we live in now, honesty gets punished. And honesty is not rewarded in the same way we were led to believe as a child. Any instance in my life where I've been honest in a situation that could bite me in the backside, it has bitten me in the backside. I was honest at the airport going to America. I could have just said I was going on holiday and I'd have been on that plane. I was honest and I got banned from the ESTA for life. I was honest when I went to see a psychiatrist and I said that I was feeling anger towards the death of my father and that I fear that anger may lash out, and I was put in a lockdown ward. Every time we're supposed to be truthful, if that doesn't suit the narrative or the people with whom you're speaking that truth, it's punishable. And I'm not wrong. Look at whistleblowers. Look at the people who are fighting for the truth about the Epstein situation. And that's why I have such a gripe with the football club that we all love. Because there is no room whatsoever for dissenting voices or opinions that don't match the narrative. And it's cowardly pussy behaviour. And it winds me up something fierce. And I'll never bow down to it. And I'll never not say, people hate the phrase my truth. You know, but when I say my truth, I mean what I hold dear to be my truth. I'm never going to hold back. Ever. Because that's all I have. All I have in this world is my family, my reputation, and my integrity. And they mean a lot to me. And I'll never just be... I'll never take the easy route just to make my life a bit easier. Just not me. Reading Liverpool today told Konate to hurry up and make his mind up. His wage demands are ludicrous. He's cost us games and will walk for nothing. Yeah, there's a few ways to look at that, Rob, isn't there? So ESTA, Peter, that is the visa waiver program that you use to go to America from Ireland and the UK and other countries. Basically means you don't have to apply for a visa to enter. You get into a visa waiver program. Sorry, to get back to what Rob was saying. Yeah, there's a few ways to look at this. And of course, I'm frustrated with Konate in the situation. But I'm also frustrated, Rob, at the club for allowing so many of these contracts to get to this point. You know, Virgil, Mo, Trent, Robbo, Konate. It just shouldn't be happening. A well-run football club shouldn't allow these situations to be manipulated to get to this point. So, yes, I'm disappointed all around, mate, is the truth. But he's not worth the money that it's reported he's asking for. Not by a long way for me. Got a feeling we got ourselves a very special player in Hugo. He moves like an Henry-esque player and has the Torres aura. Oh, I agree. And I mentioned this as well. He seems to just get it, doesn't he? Like, just get Liverpool as a city, as a fan base, what we like to see from a player. He's great. He's great. And I'm delighted he's a Liverpool player. I am. And look, I'm going to put my hands up and say I did not expect this when he came in. I didn't at all. But wow, what a start to the Liverpool career. And, you know, easy guy to fall in love with from a footballing sense. Would you do mainstream media, fan debate, etc.? No. Look, I'm trying to answer this as honestly and fairly as I can. I don't need or have any desire for fame. So to go on TV to do the overlap fan debate or anything, one, I don't like a lot of the people that are there, and I wouldn't have any interest in being around them. Two, I value my time more than travelling up and down a country to be on for 30 seconds or a minute on something that doesn't really mean nothing to me. Yeah, no. Look, I have dreams. I've always had dreams, and I've been honest about those dreams. My dream would be to work covering football in somewhere like the United States of America, like ESPN, something like that, or to go over to be in sport or something like that. But I have no interest in going on Sky Sports or BT or any of that shit because I don't hold them in the highest of regard. Yeah, it's kind of that way, really. And also, I never get asked to any of this stuff, mate. Never. Don't get asked to any of the creator games. Don't get asked to anything. I've never received a single offer to do anything that within the influencer landscape. Never. Not once. Which is cool. Don't mind. Maybe people hate me. Fair enough. But yeah, I don't have any desire to be famous. I just don't. I do this because I love it, and I never thought it was going to grow to the levels it's grown to. But I'm a quiet, inverted person who just likes to be with my family, and fame is nothing I've ever sought. I want to buy this house so I can leave a legacy for my family if I die, and leave something safe for them. But apart from that, I'm an easy dude. Do you think we'll get Semeno in January? The minute it's not looking likely, but it's not impossible. I feel like we'll know more in the next 48 hours because we're behind the two Manchester clubs at the minute. But if Liverpool make a decision and really push, I don't think it's impossible. I just don't know at what point yet Liverpool are with that situation. Craig, have you watched Rory Jennings? Yeah, I have watched Rory Jennings. I worked with Rory on one of the 888 shoots and found him to be a very pleasant guy, and but there's something I can't talk about on camera. That very much changed my opinion of him. It's nothing to do with me, by the way. It's just somebody else I'm a friend with, and how they were treated. So, yeah. Yeah, my mum always said if I've got nothing nice to say, really not to say it. So, I'm not going to say it on it. My dog was put down today. Any recommendations to keep my mind off it and try to move on? Absolutely gutted, taking a hard. Oh, man. I think you're just going to have to feel it. Because, how do I say this? It's important to feel what you're feeling. It's important to acknowledge what you're feeling. Because you have to work through it. And blanking it or distracting yourself from it, it's not going to remove the pain you're feeling. So, acknowledge it, process it, cry, do what you need to do. But also, remember the many years of joy that wonderful dog gave you, and that bond and connection that you had with that animal, and the goodness that you brought to that animal's life, and the home that you gave that dog. So, yeah, man, you need to feel that pain. You need to process that pain, but again, don't ever forget the celebratory part of celebrating someone's life or an animal's life. Because we got to spend those beautiful years. With my dad, I got to spend 21 beautiful years with him. Not all great. And, when we had to put down one of our dogs, Gizmo, last year, it hit hard. Of course it did. But I remembered all the good things. Yeah, so I feel for you, bro. But like I said, you got to feel those feelings. Right, folks. I'm going to get this news video out for you as quickly as I can. Thank you again for coming in for me tonight. We'll be here tomorrow. We'll be here Christmas Eve. Probably do a late stream Christmas Day. But again, I really do appreciate all of your support, all of your comments tonight. Yeah, been a fun one, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Much love as always. Thank you.